Hi everybody, so today we've got a new Hourglass launch. We've got the new ambient lighting edits. We have 5 curated quads available here in the UK and elsewhere. I think it's launched everywhere, but you can get the 5 of them. And in the US only we have the Customisable, you lucky things in the US. Hoping we can get that here. But I've picked up 2 of the new custom palettes. So I'm going to show you a look on both sides of the face with both of these, using it on eyes and face, and I'll have a chat about why I chose these and what colours are available and what I might already have in my collection, just a general chat about this whole launch. So I've also got swatches and I cannot wait to get started and show you everything. And if you're new here, hi, my name's Hannah, I'm 48, I'm not a professional, I'm just somebody who really loves makeup and beauty. And here on my channel, I show you my favourite looks, the latest releases, and give you any beauty news you might be interested in. If you think you'd enjoy this, I would be ever so grateful if you subscribed. Lots of people are tuning in without subscribing, so if you could, that would be ever so helpful. But if you already are subscribed, welcome back. I really appreciate you being here. And my skin tone for matching up with the shades I'll be showing you, I've got fair to light skin with predominantly cool undertones that lean a little bit neutral, and I've got blue eyes. Anyway, that's enough about me, let's get straight into this video. So as I said, I've just picked up 2 of the 5. There was only actually 2 that appealed to me. I didn't even know if I'd pick up any, and I asked you if you wanted me to pick any up, and I didn't really get an overwhelming response asking me to review any of these, so I'm not entirely sure what the interest will be on these, but I know Hourglass always generates a lot of interest, so this might just help inform you whether or not to pick some of them up, and you can see how these ones work on my skin tone anyway. And I didn't pick up all of them because one of them I've already fully got in my collection. I was hoping my collection would cover more of them so I could have shown you some looks without actually buying them, but I was unable to do that. In fact, there's only 1 palette in here which I've completely got in my collection. A big part of that is that I haven't been collecting Hourglass anything like as long as many other creators here on YouTube, so I don't have this vast collection. I started buying it for myself before I was on YouTube, just the odd palette, and then it was only last year that I started buying them more for review, so I've got a few more to show you. So the previous year I only got, I think, 2, and that year I picked up the Elephant palette, which is actually one of the ones that fully covers one of the palettes that I didn't buy. So let's go through them all anyway so we can see. So the first one from the curated palette is this one, which I have picked up. So this one is Dawn. And this one, I only had 1 of these shades in my collection, and that was the Dim Light here, which is in lots and lots of palettes. I've got this one in my Elephant palette, but I didn't have any of these 3 shades, and all 3 are shades, apart from possibly the bronzer actually, that should work quite well for me. I'm not sure about the bronzer. As usual, bronzers look a little bit too warm for me, but anyway, I will try it and we'll see how that one goes. So looking at these 4 here, we have the Dim Light in Natural Beige, we have the blush in Mood Exposure, which is a soft plum, we have the Opal Strobe Light, which is a pale rose gold, and we have the bronzer in Lunar Bronze, which is a matte warm bronze. So I've done a swatch video of this one, so I'll play that swatch video for you now. Next up we have Dusk. So I don't have this one, I didn't buy this one. So the 4 shades in this are Sublime Flush, a soft pink fused with lilac. And then we have the Mood Flush, which is a mid-tone rose. Then we have Oasis Glow, which is a shimmering warm apricot. And then we have Brick, which is called At Night, which is a brick blush shade. I don't know if this is a new shade because I couldn't figure out where this was in any palettes. Not that I figured out all of these by any means. So there is 1 shade in this palette that I do have, and that is in the Evil Eye palette that launched for the holidays, the most recent holiday palette. That is this one, which is a blush, and this is called Oasis Glow. So that's the only one I can show you from that one. It's not the greatest swatch. It doesn't swatch very well. There's a little bit of sparkle in that one. So this is the one that's got all 4 blushes, whereas the others, well, not all of them, but the 2 I've picked up today, and the ones I would always choose personally if I'm going to go for these, they need to cover all bases. So for me, that's why I chose this one, for instance, because we've got highlight, bronze, and we've got blush. Sorry, highlight, blush, bronze, and then we've got finishing powder. So for me, you can cover everything. So I much prefer that personally, but maybe you'd like, if you're doing a curated palette, a perfect idea could be if you've got gaps in your blushes, you could create a 4 blush palette. If you've got gaps in your bronzers, you could create a 4 bronzer. If you've got highlighters you've always wanted that you don't have, you could do the same, and obviously you could do the same with the finishing powders. So that's obviously an option for you in the US, not so much here. But from my personal point of view, and I know from hearing feedback from you, you do tend to prefer one that will do everything. So a palette like this, you can just, it's very good for travel. You can just take it away with you and it will do everything. So I prefer that. So anyway, that was Dusk, and that one's got all blushes. So the next one is Golden Hour, which I didn't get, but I do have all the shades for this one, even though it's quite deep. And that's because they are all in the Elephant palette. So just taking a look at this before I swatch it, this one has got Soft Light, Soft Pale Peach, and it's got the Ambient Strobe Lighting Powder in Beaming Strobe Light, Golden Sun, and it's got the Lighting Blush in Iridescent Coral, Peony, and it's got the Lighting Bronzer in Lustrous Bronze Light, Bronze Heat. Looking at the Elephant palette, we have 2 of the lighting powders here, and the one in Golden Hour is this one here, Soft Light. And it also has this one here, which is the Beaming Strobe Light, which is a Golden Sun. Really is beaming, isn't it? So there it is. Next from Elephant is this one, which is the Iridescent Coral Blush, and that's Iridescent Coral. And then lastly we have Bronze Light from Elephant, and that is Bronze Light. So there is Elephant swatched on the back of my hand, and this is the Golden Hour Quad, which is too warm for me really, but I do like it for these 3 shades, which is why I got it, but this bronze is just too much. But these 3 work out very nicely for me, so certainly from curating your own palette, I think these 2 in particular are really pretty. But this one, if you're cool toned, is no good. Obviously if you're warm toned, it's probably good for more sort of light to medium, I would have thought. So this is a palette generally I would say is more light to medium, even slight tan, but not really the best for somebody. I think it's probably the darkest out of the whole release, isn't it? So somebody with my skin tone is not going to get on quite as well with Golden Hour. And next we have Sunrise, which is the other one that I've picked up. So I'm going to show you a swatch video of this one. So here in Sunrise we have the Ambient Lighting Powder in Diffused Light, which is a warm pale yellow, the Ambient Lighting Blush in Iridescent Rose, which is a warm medium rose, and we have Ambient Lighting Bronzer in Natural Bronze Light, which is a radiant warm bronze, and then we have Ambient Strobe Lighting Powder in Celestial Strobe Light, which is a golden champagne. So these are the 2 that I picked up, and as I said, I picked them up because they cover all 4 bases and they're not too dark. Possibly the bronzers aren't going to be the best for me, but you can see how they look. And then the last one, which I didn't get, is Sunset. So this one has Ambient Lighting Powder in Transcendent Light, which is a warm sienna, and Ambient Lighting Blush in Lucid Glow, which is a shimmering warm coral, then Ambient Lighting Blush in Sunset Glow, which is a terracotta, and Ambient Lighting Powder in Infinite Strobe Light, which is a warm gold. So from this palette I have 2 of the shades, so I will show you the 2. The first one is in the Tiger palette, and that is the Ambient Lighting Powder in Transcendent Light Warm Sienna. Here's the Tiger palette, and here is Transcendent Light. So I'll just do a quick swatch of this one for you. Here it is, Warm Sienna. Transcendent Light, I mean. The shade is Warm Sienna. And the only other shade I've got from this palette is in the Snake palette. And that one is the Ambient Strobe Lighting Powder in Infinite Strobe Light, which is a warm gold. That is this one here. There are those two from the new Sunset palette. So that's all I can show you from those. So I'm actually quite pleased with the two I've got because I've got new shades for me, but these aren't new shades. These, apart from possibly that one I told you about right at the beginning, I can't remember now, but it's just that one shade I've never heard of. But everything else, as far as I know, then none of these are new shades. In fact, the one I don't recognise, was it the Brick? It probably isn't new because I don't think they've launched any new shades. One thing I did want to show you is last year there was a quad that did launch and I got this and absolutely loved this one. This one was a limited edition, I believe, so I don't know if it's still available, the Golden Rose Edit. So in case you picked this up, I thought I would just show you the two that I've picked up side by side so you can see if there's any similarities here. So here it is, and here is the new Sunrise that I've just picked up. So I do think the bronzer is better here in the one I already had. Everything else might work quite well for me though. And then we have Dawn. Very different, I think, to be fair. Dawn is definitely very light. And I do believe all the shades of Dawn are in Jellyfish, or certainly most of them are in Jellyfish. So if you picked up the Jellyfish from the same, was that the same year as the Tiger? I can't remember, to be honest. Anyway, if you've got Jellyfish, I think you've probably already got most of Dawn. So, and I think there's some as well in the Lighting Edit Sculpture, which I didn't pick up either. So there's a couple there, but I couldn't find out anymore. I was trying, it gets so complicated. I think it'd be better for me if I've got all of them here and then I can give you a full lowdown. I find it difficult looking online and trying to find it without thinking I might give you wrong information, but hopefully I've given you enough information. So now let's get started creating a look with both of them. So I think I will start with Dawn, this one here. So the first thing to see is whether this bronzer will work on me, and I don't think it will at all, not unless I'm covered in tan, but I'm going to put it on anyway because I want to show you. So it could work well for the eyes, so you don't have to rule it out if you are my skin tone. I'm using the Victoria Beckham number 15 brush here, and I'm going to just tap it lightly just to see. Yeah, that's not giving me too much if I'm careful with it. So, like I said, this is a palette that is pretty much for fair skin, I would say, or light. So I'm able to apply this without having too much of a problem, as in I'm not picking up too much on the brush, which is ideal. I really do not want to overbuild such a warm shade on my skin tone. I do have a little bit of tan on, but it's virtually gone. I hardly wear tan, I just put the tiniest bit on. Oh, see, I've just taken another bit and it's already gone a bit too warm on me. So a light hand with tan, and this would probably work on me, to be fair. Sorry about the noise. I've got this dress on and the sleeves. I've got this gold band around the sleeve, so every time, and it's a really deep sleeve, so every time my sleeve hits the desk it's making that noise. So wrong dress for this review really. I'll just take a little bit more up here. But as with all of the powders from Hourglass, they blend out beautifully without patchiness, so even when I think I've slightly over applied, they just buff out brilliantly. I have to say that for a warm bronze, I do actually quite like this one. I think that's probably about as much as I should build it up, and I have built it up quite a bit. I've gone back in now a number of times. What I'll do is I'll take my blender brush now, again Victoria Beckham, and go into the same bronzer and take it now on the eyes, which is what I absolutely love to do with these Hourglass palettes, whether it's the 6-pan or the 4-pan gold, the Rose Edit I showed you. They are so good for holidays especially, because you can do eyes and face all in one go. That's given me quite a nice bit of colour actually in the eye. And I love how when you've got the bronzer you can just bring it out here without much in the way of precision, and it's just going to meet the bronze because obviously it's the same shades, which is a really nice sort of cohesive look as well. And I'm running it underneath as well. So now I'm going to take the blush. I've actually got this brush from Morphe. I tried a couple of these recently and I've really loved them. It's a brand I've never ever got. I know that people have raved about Morphe brushes for years, but this collection just appealed to me every time I saw it, so I picked up a couple of brushes. So I'll let you know how I'm getting on, but I do like this one. I love the shape of it. It's almost like a mini version of my favourite Rapha, which I think I've got here. Here's my Rapha brush, and there's the Morphe. So a lot more affordable as well, this one. This is the M201 powder blush if you're interested, and I got this in a pack, a blush pack. Anyway, I'll go into this blush here. So this one is the Mood Exposure, which is a soft plum. Oh wow, that is gorgeous. I know that a lot of people raved about this. I think it's in the jellyfish. I really did regret not getting the jellyfish. I really should have that year because it was the sort of perfect palette for me. Oh, that is lovely. It's got quite a glow to it, hasn't it? Definitely bringing that hourglass glow. I don't think I need a lot of this. It's actually quite pigmented on my skin tone. So I will be needing that finishing powder, I think, to soften the edges of that one. But the brush picked up quite a bit, but you can see the brush works really nicely. Quite a lot of shine with this one. And I'm going to use the same blender brush to now take this one on the lid. I'm going to take it into the crease and then into the sort of first half of the lid, I'd say. I'm going to stop halfway. Oh, that is very pretty. Really, really like that. So I've got my other Victoria Beckham dual ended here, and I think I'm going to go into the smallest end of this. It's number 13. And now I'm going to go into this highlighter. This is a strobe lighting powder, and this is in the shade Opal Strobe Light. So now let's see what that gives me. Oh, that is beautiful. I'm really glad I got this, and I'm quite pleased with the bronzer. Definitely for summer I can wear this bronzer. Oh, this is a lovely, lovely quad. I think if you've got my skin tone, even if you have got cool tones, you can get away with this. It is a warm tone palette because this plum is not particularly cool, is it? I don't think it is anyway. But it's not too warm. So it depends how you feel about trying to go a little bit warmer for the summer, which I can just about get away with. Oh, that is so pretty. So now what I'm going to do is take that same highlighter on my little finger, and now I'm going to put it onto my lid for that first half and bring it to meet the blush. So it's really pretty. And I'm also going to take it on my BK Beauty, the 207, and bring it into the inner corner here and pop it under the brow. Oh, that's so lovely. Well, that's a lovely soft wash of colour and just super, super easy. I will go in and do liner and mascara, but I'll do that off camera at the end, just showing you roughly what this looks like for a really easy look. So now I've basically got the same look on all of my cheek and eye matching up, and it's so quick and easy. It's fabulous. So I'm going to now take my Buffer Pro Sonia G and go into this one here. So this is the dim light. Now the way I always use this is to go around the edges and use it as my finishing powder. If I had over applied the blush and I wanted to calm it down, I would now go over the whole area. I don't really want to do that. I just want to soften the edges today. But another thing I know a lot of people love to use this for is it brings a real pop of light. So if you want to skip the highlighter, you can use it as a sort of pop of light here and in the inner corner if you want to avoid that sort of shine and sparkle. And it'll also make a nice one for underneath the brow, although it's not massively light. That's the only thing I would say. I'd like it to be a bit lighter for me for that purpose, but I don't use it for that. I use it as a finishing powder, which it is absolutely perfect for. In fact, I'll put a little bit here, so it's sort of going around the edge of that bronzer, so it's just sort of blending it there as well. It's a lovely way to just finish the whole look. So there we go, that is done. Very, very, very pleased with that. That was a brilliant purchase for me, it really was. So let's try the next one. So I'm going to clean off the brushes and use exactly the same brushes as I did for this side. So now going into the Sunrise quad, I'm going to take this bronzer. So this is Natural Bronze Light, which I think might suit me a little bit more, but it's definitely got a lot more pigment. Look at that, straight away, that's a lot more pigment. Wow, okay, maybe it's not going to suit me more. I'm going to say more than the first one I tried, but let's see. You can see it here on my forehead, so we can see the difference. Maybe I just picked up a bit too much. I did swirl a bit, which I shouldn't have done. I do sort of make a promise to myself not to do that. You can definitely see more pigment there. Not an awful lot of difference between the two though, is there? It is just a little bit more pigmented. Again, it's a summer blush for me. It's certainly not remotely cool tone. So I think the thing for me, if I was able to get one of the make your own palettes from the US, which we have to have here soon, it needs to launch everywhere, Hourglass. I need a cool tone bronzer. But I think I'd probably go with this lovely blush from this side. And possibly that highlighter, I don't know. There's so many options, aren't there? Yeah, so that built up a lot more quickly, but I was able to blend it out and I like it. I just don't quite like it as much as that side. So now I'm going to go into this one. It seemed a little bit more glowy as well. So now let's take it in the eye. You can see straight away on the eye as well, it's just got a bit more pigment. So I'd say so far from the bronzer point of view, this quad is not quite as good if you've got fair skin, so maybe this one is more suitable to light medium. You see the difference that between that and that is just a little bit more warmth and definitely more pigment. I'm running this one underneath. I'm using to run underneath today the Sonia G brush, by the way, the Pencil Pro. And then I'm going to go straight into the blush, again using this Morphe. So let's go into this. This is Iridescent Rose, I believe. And this one is also in the Tiger palette, by the way. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. Oh, what a lovely colour. So with a fairly gentle application, it's not too much for me there. Beautiful, very glowy. But as with all Hourglass, glowy but not particularly highlighting my texture, so mature skin friendly really. And now I'm going to use the same blender brush to take this one on the eyes. Do exactly the same thing, so covering just over half of the lid and taking it into the crease and the outer V. You can see how I'm just doing this in a very carefree, casual way, and this just should show you just how quickly you can get a look out of these. I don't think there's anything I've got in my whole collection that will give me as quick a look as taking one of these and using it for nearly everything. It's so convenient. I loved using it for holiday. So now I'm going to go into the highlighter. Celestial Strobe Light, which is a golden champagne, and I'm taking it on that first third. Definitely a lot more gold than this side here, isn't it? I think light to medium skin tones that have warm undertones particularly will love this one. Neutral as well, neutral undertones. But I do think it's working on my fair skin. I'm not unhappy with either actually. But I have to say my favourite palette to use is the Dragon palette, and I don't think either of them quite match up with that. I will get that one out and show you how that one looks. So now taking that small end of this Victoria Beckham Duo brush, using the same highlighter now. Definitely much more of a pop there than we had from this side. And you can see the gold, which is not the most complementary sort of highlight shade for my skin tone, but again, light to medium, this will be better, but it works. It's not enough for me to think I won't put it on again, but it's probably not the best. So now I've established that, I'm going to go back into, I need to remember the names of these, honestly, it's a nightmare. Back into Dawn, and I'm going to take the highlight shade from Dawn and run this one down my nose. I can't do both sides, so I'll stick with Dawn down the nose and over the Cupid's bow. And then back into Sunrise again, taking the Goldie highlight into the inner corner. I will take it under the brow, but it's not my favourite shade for this. In fact, no, I won't. I'll take this under the brow. So this one is Diffuse Light, which is a warm pale yellow. That one's more likely to suit me under the brow. Yeah. And then I'm going to take my Buffer Pro into this as well and do exactly the same and go around the edges to soften. In fact, I think I'll go over the whole look because it is quite a deep look on me. So I'm going to just literally buff over the whole look. So you can take these powders over the entire face and use it to sort of finish the whole face, blend everything out. You don't have to concentrate it in one area, you don't have to just take it around the edges. And as I did under the brow, you can be using them to lighten there. It also make quite a good inner corner if you don't want to have that shimmer. I'll leave that gold today, but it's not my preferred choice. So there we have Sunrise. I do think this is lovely if I had more tan on. I don't think it's my... If I was just doing this without reviewing, I probably would have skipped this one and I would have just got this one. But I'm not unhappy I got it, and I will definitely use this one again. But this one, Dawn, is my favourite, which is what I was expecting. Definitely suits my skin tone. I'm very, very, very pleased with this one. This one, I'm reasonably pleased with it. And that's just a colour thing now, not formula. The formulas and the combination I think is really, really good. And I think if you're light medium, you're going to really like that. Just like if you get with Dawn, you're going to really like that if you're fair skinned or fair to light. And maybe not if you're only cool tone and you cannot handle any warmth. I don't think either of these are going to be very good for you, unfortunately. Anyway, I wanted to show you the Dragon palette just quickly because this is my personal favourite and the one I think is the best on me, the one I've used the most, the one I took on holiday last year. So I'll just show it to you so you can see the difference between them. So this one is Dawn. So maybe the blush colour, there's a bit of a similarity there, and then slight similarity with this one, but it's lighter, which is what makes it better. It's got the two finishing powders here and they're both lighter than the one that comes with Dawn. But the bronzer is quite dark, but it does work on me. It's actually quite a cool tone compared to this one. So it's a better bronze. This blush is similar. I would say that what this has got over Dragon is, I think the highlighter is prettier with that sort of pink rose in the highlight. This one is a bit goldy. So I think in some ways the Dragon would be perfect if it had this in it. But obviously the Dragon has also got this coral, so you've got a different option whether you go pink or coral, and obviously it's a 6 pan. And then if I show you it against Sunrise, the one I've just put on now, slightly, no, there's no similarities at all really. The bronzer is slightly more similar. That's about it. I just thought I'd show you that because if you're a similar skin tone, you might love Dragon and you might have looked at exactly the same quads that I did. But I will just go off camera now, do my eyeliner and my mascara. I'm going to put on a brown eyeliner and a brown mascara, and then we can be back to finish the video. So there's my final look with eyeliner and mascara added on. So which side do you prefer? Dawn or Sunrise? I really do like them both, but it's absolutely Dawn for me. I love it actually, I really do. I can see me possibly liking this in the same way I like the Dragon, possibly. I need to use it more, but I think it's so easy. It's just so quick and easy, and that's what I love them for. They give you that beautiful finish, but also it's just everything can be done so quickly with minimum brushes, minimum effort, but you still feel really put together and beautiful. So an absolute hit, as I would expect them to be, but I'm pleased that I've added these to my collection because I didn't have these shades. But make sure you go through them and check your current collections, because you don't want to be buying them to find you've already got them, unless you just want a 4 that's easier to travel with maybe than the 6 because it's that bit smaller. But there's not a massive difference if you think about it from a travel perspective. We're only talking an inch really, so it's not much of a difference, is it? But anyway, it's a good launch from Hourglass, not quite as exciting as the one we had at Christmas where we had so many new shades. And it is exciting if you're in the US, so I hope you enjoy selecting your favourites and curating your own palettes. I'm very excited for everyone in the US, but I do really hope that we get it here so we can start curating our own. I would love to make my own sort of cool tone version. That would be my dream quad for sure. So I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Are you picking up any of these that are actually custom palettes? Are you picking up any of the 5? Have you picked any of them up? Do you already have these colours in your collection so you don't need them, which is good news from the point of view of your wallet, isn't it, if that's the case? But whatever your thoughts are, I would absolutely love to hear them. And if you've enjoyed this video, please do hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. I would love it ever so much to have you here on my channel. And if you are subscribed, you're at the end of another review. Thank you so very much for being here. I really appreciate you. And I do hope to see all of you again for my next video. Take care, everybody. Bye.